How long have you been a member at Clark's Green?
1966.
We were newly married, and Reverend Mayo, who was the minister at the time, came to call on us. And we came to church the next Sunday. We lived a street over from the church. And Phyllis Watkins, who was singing in the choir, looked out of the choir and winked at me and came over and talked to me after church. And I thought, this is a nice lady. These must be nice people in this church.
That's when the old church was here and had a balcony in the back. That was interesting. It was only here these couple of years. And then that was torn down. This one. Matter of fact, this one was built in 1968.
What is your fondest memory of your time at the church?
Well, we've had some fun times as a couple now and as a family, because we were just newly married when we joined the church, and we have 2 grown-up kids, and we have grandchildren now. And our daughter, who's in her 30s, was the first baby baptized in the sanctuary of the new church. So really our whole social life revolves around our friends from church, and we've had some really, really nice times with people from this church.
What is your most meaningful memory or experience at Clark's Green?
Oh, there's a lot of good memories here. Chicken barbecue and working on the chicken barbecue and church music, gospel airs, and bell choir. I'm not much of a singer, but I like to listen. And
I was involved in the United Methodist Women when I was young, and we did a lot of fundraising in those days. That was before people went back to work. And I was lucky enough in those days to stay home with my children, and we did things at church to fundraise for United Methodist Women. And one of the things we did was we made sweet rolls, and we would get up, start at 5 o'clock in the morning and start the dough, and then bake 300 dozen rolls during the day, and then be done by 5 o'clock in the afternoon and take them to the people that bought them. So that was one project that we did. We used to have lots of bazaars, and everybody got, during the time of the bicentennial, everybody appeared in costume for the bazaars. It was fashionable at that time to wear long skirts then. And we made, probably someone has mentioned the Easter eggs project that we used to do. We used to make pound Easter eggs and write names on them and customize them. And that was very, very big business for United Methodist Women. And then we always have lots of rummage sales and a lot of events that are fun for everybody.
How has your faith helped you?
Well, at my stage in life, I'm speaking for myself, and possibly for my husband too, life has had I've had a lot of things happen in my life, illness, death, people I loved, and supportive friends from church have meant a lot to me.
if you live long enough, everybody has problems, and it's nice to have a good support group behind you when you have problems. And this church is very good that way.
What is your earliest memory of Clark's Green Church?
Probably what I said about that first Sunday I came here as a very young woman, and realized that people were friendly here and interested in being friends with us.
Can you remember any hard times when the church members were there for you?
Yeah, I can remember. Our niece was killed in an automobile accident by church, and Steve Heiss, the minister at that time, were very supportive.
What would you like to keep the same about our church in the future?
I think the caring that we have for each other.
What would you like to change about our church?
I think sometimes when you're very close to people, you create this little circle, and sometimes you forget that you need to extend that circle so other people can become part of that circle. And I think maybe that's something that needs to be done too. We need to extend ourselves to other people.
It would be nice to have the church, more people in church on Sunday morning. We've got, great programs, great music, great ministry, and it'd be nice if more people would share with us.
What do you feel our church should be doing within the community, outreach, and mission?
Well, United Methodist Women has a major part of their funding goes to, actually all their money raised goes to mission projects through the Board of Global Missions. And so we are involved in mission in that way in terms of, well, you know how we gather food products and things like that for people at the holidays. And we have in the past had sewing projects for people in the community. Currently there are not, but church is involved in a lot of things, and you know how active ASP is in terms of mission out of the community.
I think our church is more involved in mission now than it's probably ever been with ASP and the mission baskets and the women in the Clark Summit State Hospital group. It would be nice. There are a lot of programs, more programs, I should say. It would be great if more people would participate in the programs that we already have for the community, especially in the community.
Several years ago, the church was involved in the Heifer Project, and that's a project where they buy cattle for people in the developing countries, and they were involved in that. At one point in time, the church sent a load of hay to, where was it? Went to
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
When they had a drought, they took up a collection and bought a load of hay, and Herzog Trucking from out of Holmesdale transported it free. I don't know if somebody in the church was a friend or whether they just did that for people that, but a lot of people in the community were involved in that.
What groups have you belonged to over the years in the church? What offices have you held?
Well, I've been president of United Methodist Women 2 times, in 2 different times of my life. I've been on the board of Counseling Ministries. I was involved in the choir for a number of years, taught Sunday school when my kids were little, worked in Vacation Bible School when my kids were involved.
I guess one of my first projects was the financial secretary in the building fund of the new church when they built the new church. And then I've been chairman of the trustees and chairman of the finance committee and chairman of the endowment fund. I guess if you're chairman, that means you don't have to do anything. You get the other people to work. That's why that's a good job. But pretty well covered most everything. Chicken barbecue. We're involved in chicken barbecue.
What should the church be teaching to our children and youth?
Well, I think that one of the greatest teachers is example. And I think if you're sincere about your religion and your caring of other people, that should be an example to the children that are involved in various activities in the church. I spent a lot of years teaching high school, and I can tell you from experience that students, older students who have some sort of church background and church orientation tend to be, in general, kinder and more pleasant to other people. I do think that basic teaching that you learn in Sunday school every week about love one another, I think that eventually it's like water dripping on a stone. Eventually it makes an impact on people. And they honestly are more caring and interested in and more compassionate about the lives of other people.
That's one thing I would say if you're a young person, good idea to visit with the old people. I learned an awful lot that way, and it gives you good memories when you do get to be old. It's nice to think back on those so-called old people that
Aren't so old now, right? They aren't so old now.
They're getting younger all the time. The older people seem to have time to visit a lot of times, and some of them had some. I'm amazed at the interesting lives that the people have had. Some of the people that had that have come through this church in here. But if you ask questions, you can learn an awful lot about history, not only of the church, but of the area and such, from people that have gone through.
Our son is married and has 2 children. The oldest is 4, and they're involved in Sunday school and church in New Jersey. And they're in a Sunday school class that my son and his wife are in a Sunday school class that talks a lot about growing up, and my daughter-in-law said that he always has good stories about his church experiences when he was a kid, because we used to, the church used to go as a group to Sky Lake and have retreats, and we did a lot of fun things with the kids when they were little. And they enjoyed it, and they speak very kindly and fondly of it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.